Well, it has been one crazy year, wouldn't you say? So that is making the patriotic holidays that much more meaningful to me. And so with that in mind, I put together some of my favorite and best patriotic DIYs. I hope you enjoy them, so let's get started. With all of the fun patriotic holidays coming up, I'm going to be doing some projects that will be knocking off Pottery Barn items. So I went over to Pottery Barn's website looking for some inspiration for 4th of July, and I saw some really cute things there, including a table runner. And the table runner had two options. One was stars and stripes, and then one was just stars. And I just loved them, but they were $70 for the runners. And I knew that we could get the look for less. So the table runner is going to be an all stars, but I knew I needed to bring the stripes out for my patriotic themed table. So I went over to their napkin section on Pottery Barn, and I came across these really cute ticking napkins, and then I looked at the price tag and it was $90 for a set of 4. I was just totally blown away. Beautiful though. I loved the way they looked. So I'm like, that's what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna make some. Making napkins is gonna be so easy. So I got my star fabric from Hobby Lobby on sale for $6.97 a yard. I got 2 yards because I wanted to have a little extra maybe for this project a little bit later, but I think we're gonna be able to get away with squeezing out in 1 yard of fabric, and I'll show you how we're gonna do that. My red and cream ticking I also got at Hobby Lobby. It is a really soft fabric. I think it will make great napkins, and it was on sale for $3.49 a yard. Now I wanted to offer you 2 different ways to do it because I know not everybody sews and doesn't feel comfortable sewing or have a sewing machine. So I'm gonna do each project differently. So for the table runner, I'm gonna be using some iron-on adhesive, and so there won't be any sewing on that. And for the napkins, I just wanted to sew those and just have the nice hem on it. I learned how to sew when I was 8 years old, and my husband actually sews. I'll probably be in the doghouse for sharing that with you. If I can learn to sew at 8 and he can sew, I promise you guys, you can do it. Buy an inexpensive sewing machine, possibly borrow one from a friend or your parent or somebody who has a sewing machine that would let you try it out. Making napkins would be a perfect way to start your sewing. But again, I wanted to offer you 2 options, so we're gonna do both. So let's get started. This will be a no-sew option for you. And you can take these principles and use them on the napkins if you'd like. But again, we're just gonna do it on the table runner for this one. We're gonna be using some heat and bond tape. You could use peel and stick. It's basically adhesive tape. You're gonna need an iron, so I've got mine heating up. So this fabric is only 45 inches wide. If you were able to find a fabric that's similar, that's 54 inches wide, you could do the 108 inches that the Pottery Barn is. I'm only gonna do 90 inches, which is the width of this, twice, because my table's a little shorter, and so it will work just fine. You could also cut it the other direction as well. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna measure my fabric to 19 inches, and then I am just gonna cut on that line, and we're gonna cut 2 panels. And at some point you can just fold it over on itself and use itself as the pattern. Okay, so now we've got our 2 panels, and before I start doing anything, I always like to press out my fabric so you can get out any wrinkles and have a nice fresh start. All right, so we're done ironing our panels, and what we are going to do now is we are going to take our bonding tape out of the box so we can use it. So we're gonna have to put a seam in ours because I'm using 2 panels, and I thought that that would be okay because I'm gonna be putting a centerpiece over it, and I just didn't think that it would be a big deal if it had a seam in it. So we're gonna take our hem tape and we're gonna match it up to the width of our runner, and then we are going to cut it, and then we're gonna iron this on. And just to protect our iron from getting all gooey, I'm just gonna put a paper towel down. And you can see that we've got the tape on. And now we need to peel it back, and we are gonna take our other panel and we are gonna put right sides together and line it up really nicely. Just kind of slowly iron it on. It doesn't take too long. You wanna make sure that you melt the glue. you should have a seam. Okay, so I allowed it to cool and then I kind of folded it out and pressed down the middle just to create a nice crisp seam. Now we're gonna start doing the edge banding. Now I'm only gonna be using this maybe a handful of times, so we'll probably pull it out on Memorial Day and 4th of July. So the proper way to probably do this is to go around, create a lip, and do like a finished edge. But I'm just gonna leave the rough edges exposed and that's gonna be fine. It's not gonna be getting heavy use. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna kind of repeat that process on all of the seams. So just follow the instructions on the box as far as how long to hold the iron down. That creates a nice crisp line without stitching. This is our no-sew table runner. Looks so much like the original, $10 versus $70. And if you wanted to save a few extra bucks, you could sew it and it would be a little bit cheaper because you don't have to get the hem tape. But that turned out so good. I'm so thrilled with it. I'm ready to start my napkins that are gonna be just a ginormous amount of savings. What I'm gonna do is this fabric should tear and give us a straight line. So I'm just gonna start by tearing the fabric to get us on a straight line. That will help us just keep the squares nice and square. And sometimes it will like kind of snag a little bit and you just take your fingers and run it along and pull out that snag. We are making 20-inch squares, so what I'm gonna do is measure down 21.5 to allow some seams. And this should tear straight, so I just make a snip and then I rip it. And we're gonna just do it the same thing in the other direction. Make a snip. I usually snip about 1 inch so you have enough to grab, and then, so that's our first square. It causes it to kind of curl around the edges, so I think at this point I will iron them out. I'm gonna need 6 for my table, so you just tear out what you need for yours. I want to show you how I do this, and I've already done it on the sides, but we just fold it up like 1/4 inch, and I'm just eyeballing it because this doesn't really need to be that perfect because we're not hemming something. It's just to have a nice finished edge and not have a frayed edge. So I'm eyeballing about 1/4 inch and I'm pressing it down with the iron, which creates a nice crease. And this iron does a fantastic job. We're gonna fold it over about 1/2 inch. Again, I'm just eyeballing. But what I wanna show you is here on the corner. I actually fold it on a 45-degree angle and I kind of tuck that in. You don't have to do that, but it just gives it a more finished quality. With this all ironed and with all of these edges ironed down, we are ready to sew. So I'm gonna sew up the seams to this. It shouldn't take more than a few minutes, but if you're not sure how to sew, you're gonna wanna pop on over to my IGTV channel because I show you all of the sewing basics from threading the machine to winding a bobbin to doing a straight stitch. It's all on my episode this week over on IGTV. If you already sew, then all you do is sew it up, and that's what we're gonna do right now. Our set of 4 napkins. These were about $5 versus $80. Massive savings, same look. It's awesome. On Amazon, I found a couple different options as far as flag banners, like kind of like the long, narrow kind of flag banners to hang outside. I wanted to do that kind of like behind the food table. I just thought that they would be really cute. The ones that I found online were about $33 to about $45 per panel. So it was a little bit pricey and I thought that we could do a little bit better. And I thought this would go really well with our other projects today. So what I found is I picked up this red and kind of off-white striped outdoor fabric from Walmart of all places. It was about $7 a yard and I got 2 yards of it. And then we have left over of the star fabric from our table runner project, and then I cut it down lengthwise down the center, and that's going to be the top portion. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this fabric, also cut it down the seam lengthwise, and that should give us 28¼ each panel. We should be able to get 2 panels out of our fabric, making this a very affordable project. And the fun thing about these projects are that once we make them, we can use them year after year after year. I have my panels cut out. Doesn't that look like a flag? We're gonna start by sewing these 2 fabrics together. Then we're just gonna hem around the entire panel, and then I'm gonna create just a little pocket so that we can slide it onto a dowel. Our panel is complete. I will hang it on a wooden dowel outside. That's what we got so far. Let's get started. I'm really excited to put this together. We made these amazing flag banner panels, and I'm ready to hang them. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna take these suction cup hooks and hopefully just suction cup them to the window, and hopefully it will stay. So we'll see what happens. I've got a wooden dowel, and we're gonna slide that right into our pocket. I don't know, it feels like a flag. I feel like I shouldn't let it touch the ground. Doesn't this look great? As always, a white tablecloth. If you've been watching my channel for a little while, you'll know that I like to use some sort of wrapping paper to protect my tablecloth. And this time I've just decided to use some packing paper as it, because I just think it will have a nice natural element to it. So I'm going to put that on now. It's looking good. And now it's time to add our table runner. How cute is that? Seriously. So I'm going for kind of a casual elegance for my table, and so I thought it would be really fun to use some galvanized chargers, and so we're going to put them on now. All right, next up we have my everyday white plates. I use them all the time in my tablescape. It's very appropriate in our more casual yet elegant tablescape. And then on top of that, I'm going to lay one of our napkins, and it's going to look so cute. Now I'm going to set a salad plate on top of our napkin, and I got these little American flags at Walmart, 4 for $1.97, and I'm going to just place those on top of the plates. Those would make a really nice party favor for your guests. So for my centerpiece, this is a tray that I've used several times. I got it at Michael's for like $6. All I've done is just add some American flags into it. I like the juxtaposition of the grass and the wood and the American flag. I think it's going to look really cute on our table. So coordinating with our centerpiece, I took some of the grass mats that were left over and added it to a galvanized 3-tiered tray that I already had. And I also stuck some flags in there. All of my flags I pretty much either got at the Dollar Tree or Walmart, and so they were really inexpensive. So I got this galvanized bowl at Walmart several years ago, and I thought about it, and I thought this actually might make a really good water jug stand, so I'm gonna flip it over. And then I got this mason jar jug on clearance at Walmart once for $5. It was an incredible steal. I use it all the time. I've had it for a few years, and I think it's gonna be perfect in this setup. All right, now it's time for some finishing touches. It's gonna look great. I'm adding some stemware to add a little bit more elegance to our very casual dining. So I'm sticking with pretty traditional 4th of July menu. I've got some hot dogs grilling up right now, and I can't think of anything more refreshing than infused water on a summer day, and so I'm going to do a patriotic themed infused water. Start out by adding some ice. Woo! It's going to be nice and cold, but it's hot outside, so that's okay. And then we are going to just layer in some blueberries and some strawberries that I've cut up, and then just add water. Okay, so we're having a pool party, so I got some pool toys. I have some pillows. These I'm borrowing from my house. This I actually picked up at the Goodwill in Maine before I moved, so I had it on hand. I got a whole bunch of these beach balls from the Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna throw them in my pool. I want to let you in on a little secret that my friend Lisa over from Lisa Birmingham Designs, I'll put the link to her channel in the description box below, but she gave me this tip once and it made me feel less guilty. So sometimes it's okay to buy store-bought stuff, and I like that. So I went to the store and bought a bunch of vanilla cupcakes with white vanilla frosting, and I dressed them up by putting some blueberries and a strawberry on top to make them feel festive and adorable. And so we're going to put these onto our plates as a little treat, and nobody will have to know but you and I, and maybe Lisa. She understands though. If you're enjoying what you see so far, I'd love it if you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future episodes. So our next DIY is a patriotic wood round, and I've done various forms of these wood rounds. I love them because you can get 2 out of 1. You can put something on one side and then flip it around and have something on the other. I pick mine up at Home Depot because they have the best prices, and you can do curbside pickup, so it's really easy to do this. And then I have, of course, my favorite gold paint that we're going to be we'll try that again. I've got my favorite gold paint, pure gold by Folkart. We're going to start by painting out the edge of the wood round in the gold and making sure that that's on there really good. And then, you know, if it gets onto the front, it's okay, because then we're going to take our white chalk paint and then we're going to paint the front of the wood round and get a nice couple of coats of white on there. Now it's time to stripe our wood round, and you're gonna need some of my favorite thing, painter's tape. If you watch this channel for a while, you know I have kind of a love-hate relationship with it, but we're gonna need it for this project, and I'm gonna show you a technique that will help you not bleed your stripes. You can see I love stripes, and I have a definite technique to help you avoid the bleeding that is inevitable when you do stripes. So the first thing we're gonna do is section off the top third, because that will be the blue portion of our flag. Then we're going to take another strip of painter's tape and find center. Then we will place a piece of tape right in the center, and then we will take 2 more additional pieces and place tape on either side of that original center piece. And then we will remove that center tape because I wanted my middle strip to be red. Then you will kind of use that tape as a spacer and rotate it back and forth until you have stripes. Now here's the secret trick. You're going to take the same white chalk paint that's already on and paint that on all of the edges to seal the paint so that when it bleeds, it will leak the original color. Then you can take your red paint, which the color I'm using is called Tuscan Red, and you will need to do 2 to 3 coats, probably closer to 3. Now, if you're impatient like me, just pull out your hairdryer and help it along a little bit. When it is fully dry, you can peel it back, and I usually like to do this on a 45-degree angle and reveal your perfect stripes. Now it's time to paint the top third blue. But before we can do that, we need to repeat the process. We need to extend those stripes up and also seal the edges there. This sounds a little trickier than it actually is. If you see what I'm doing, it's pretty easy. We're going to paint the top third in that navy blue color. The color name is Ink by Martha Stewart. I only ended up needing to do 1 coat because, as you can see here, I squeezed the navy blue right onto the top portion, and I might have squeezed out just a little too much, but it ended up working out just fine. Now it's time to take our printable or your vinyl stencil. I've got 2 options here. You can do USA or America. I'm going to actually be cutting mine in a Cricut vinyl stencil just because it gets a little bit cleaner look. But of course, if you don't have one, I've got some printables for you, so don't worry. You'll still be able to do this project and it will turn out amazing. So I think I'm going to use America. And now the font that I use for this is called Nocturnal. You can download that from dafont.com. If you are watching from another country, then you can adapt this project for your national holiday and your national flag. Just use the colors from your flag. I think that this is very adaptable to that. And now if you're doing this without the vinyl stencil, what you're going to do is you're going to just take some graphite paper and lay it down, and you're going to put your printable over the top. Then you're going to trace all of the outlines of the lettering, and then you're just going to go ahead and go back in and fill it in with the gold. Now, if you're going to use the stencil, you are just going to lay it over the blue section, and you can see part of the letter A went onto the striped area, and I'm totally okay with that. Then we're going to repeat the same thing that we did with the stripes, taking the same color that's underneath and sealing the edges with that paint color to prevent bleeding. Once that's dry, I do 3 coats of the gold color. Then I let that dry. Yeah, this, my friends, is what happens when you lack patience. But that's okay, because it's a fairly easy fix, but do wait for your paint to really dry before trying to remove the stencil, or that's what's going to happen. To fix my impatient mistake, I just go back and do a little touch up by hand with a small paintbrush. And while I'm at it, this is a good time to do any needed touch up on the sign. Okay, I really love how this turned out. I thought about doing stars up there, and you could definitely do that. You could just do stars and have just stars and stripes. But I really love the gold America, and even though we had a little bit of a hiccup getting it on, in the end it looks pretty good. What do you think? And so all we have into it really is some paint and some stencil supplies. The wood round costs $6. Now remember to hang on to it, because we've always got it back, and we can do dual duty. We've done that in the past where we do one side and then we flip it around and do the other. So that really ends up making this $3 for this version, and then we'll save $3 for the other version. Back in February, I did a pink Rose Topiary ball that I thought was so cute, and I wanted to do a version of that for 4th of July and all of the patriotic holidays that we've got. I have this white candlestick that I picked up at the Dollar Tree a while back, and if you ever see these bases at the Dollar Tree, snag them, because they aren't around all the time. But I am confident that whether you go to a thrift store or somewhere, you can find a candlestick for a good price that has a similar look and feel to it. I was going to use this for another project that I didn't end up doing, and so it already has the foam ball glued onto it. Then you're going to need some red roses. I picked these up on clearance at Hobby Lobby for $3.99 for this big beautiful bunch. I think it was regularly $16 for the bunch. So that was a really good find. Having said that, if you can't get those, the ones at Dollar Tree, they've really upped their game on Dollar Tree flowers. These ones they have at the Dollar Tree, they're very, very pretty. These ones are much larger. These ones are a little bit smaller, so you're gonna need more bunches and you'll end up spending about the same. So whichever direction you wanna go is perfect. You just need some red rose bushes. Then you're gonna need some gold star stickers. Now, these are so nostalgic for me because I remember as a little kid, if I did something good at school, my teacher would always take these little star stickers and either stick them on my hand, a few of them stuck them on my forehead, and everybody wants a gold star, right? This is gonna be a really simple project to put together. All we're gonna do is take our star stickers out and peel them off, and we are gonna just stick them in random patterns all over our little base. This is already painted white. If yours is not already white, paint it white first. And then we're gonna take our navy blue paint that we used on our last project, and very carefully, because we're not going to go and seal all the edges on that, it just would take a long time, but just very carefully kind of bounce, maybe use a makeup sponge and just bounce on this navy blue, get it sealed, and then maybe do a second coat, because we do really want this to be like an opaque finish. So then we're going to just cut off like an inch of the top of the roses and just stick them in till it's a nice round sphere. This is not complicated to do at all. You just need to shove your roses in. And then we are left with such a cute Patriotic Rose Topiary. Isn't this cute? I just love this, and it started with just a Dollar Tree base and then a Dollar Tree foam ball, and I think they come in 2 packs at Dollar Tree, so that's $1.50 for the foundation. And I used all of the roses from the Hobby Lobby bush, which was $4, and then I also added the extra dollar bush, so you're probably into this about $7, and I think it's worth every penny. I love how this turned out. Very patriotic and very cute. What do you think? Okay, so our next patriotic DIY is, of course, a 4th of July sign. Now, you will probably recognize this from the past 2 Way Cool Dirt Cheaps. It's just a wood sign that I picked up at Walmart for $4.97, and we've used it every time, and I've just been sticking different things on it for each holiday. This time, I have created a printable for you. For those of you who do not have a Cricut machine, you will print this out and use it as a template to cut out the contents of this sign. Now, if you do have a Cricut machine, we are going to cut out some poster board and cardstock on our Cricut machine. I had this stuff already on hand, but you can find similar stuff very easily, I'm confident. I picked up this sheet of paper at Hobby Lobby, and it's kind of got like a shiny metallic finish on it. We're going to use this on the number 4. Now for July, I have this is kind of big, but it's this kind of shiny metallic blue, and I actually already had this on hand, and it was a poster board that regularly retails for $1.19, and I got it on 50% off, so this whole poster board was probably like 60 cents, and we're gonna just cut off a little section and put it through our Cricut machine, so you won't need much of that. And we're gonna just cut that out. Then we're gonna take some sticky putty so that we can remove it for the next time we have a holiday. And we're gonna just tack it onto our board with the tacky putty, and it will look so cute. So we have now used this little black frame for 3 holidays, and it originally cost me $5, so you split that up 3 ways, and you're talking a little over $1.50 per use now, and we're gonna use it again and then again and again. And that's why I like to use the tacky putty, because then I can just peel this off and use it for the next holiday, and that is a really big space saver. I don't know, what do you think? All right, so for my next DIY, we are going to be making a little pom-pom and star garland, and it's going to be super cheap. We're going to just use some yarn that I have on hand and make some cute little pom-poms. Then I just cut out some red stars out of some cardstock. Now you could use the leftover paper from our July 4th sign, and that would be great. You can really use anything. There's a whole assortment you could use. Just whatever sings to you. Just cut out some stars, and you could use use cookie cutter, you can use a Cricut machine, you can use whatever you want and make your own template and just cut out some stars. And then of course, I love making pom-poms. They're so much fun and they're really easy to do. And I just have my cute little tiny little pom-pom maker, and these come in a package of different sizes. I've made a tutorial just on making pom-poms before, but in short, all you need to do is pull out one side of the device and wrap it in a back and forth motion until it's full and the U-shaped area is filled in with yarn. Then you're just going to close that side of the device and open up the other and repeat that process. Then you're going to take some scissors and snip down the middle, cutting the yarn in half. Then you're going to take a piece of yarn, maybe 8 inches long, and tie it through the middle section of the device and make sure it's nice and tight and make several knots. And then you can remove the device and you have a pom-pom. Now go ahead and give it a little haircut and give it a nice round shape. But leave the long strings that you tied around the middle section for now. Now to assemble the garland, I just find the center and I want a star to be there, so I take 2 of my red stars and put one on the back side, and then I fill the center with hot glue, and then I sandwich another star on top, gluing it to the twine. And then I use my palm as a measurement. Very scientific, I might add, to space out my pieces, alternating pom-poms and stars. To attach the pom-pom to the twine, all I do is take the long strings and tie a square knot and then cut off the excess to blend in with the pom-pom. Super easy to put together. Okay, so this garland cost almost next to nothing. I mean, it's just a little bit of cardstock, some yarn, and some twine, stuff that I already had on hand. I didn't have to go buy anything. I estimated the amount of supplies that I used, and I figured it was around $1 to $1.25 worth of supplies, but that is being very generous. And to be honest with you, I believe that it was probably much less. You could use the stars and stripe and just do all stars. You don't even need to do the pom-pom. That was something I thought about doing, is just using the paper from the 4th of July sign, the shimmery blue and the red and white stripe, but I didn't want it to compete too much with my next DIY. So for my next DIY, we are going to be making a really awesome printable. I normally make them 16 by 20, but this time I'm going to also be offering it as an 8 by 10 and 11/14 to add a little bit of flexibility in price and availability to print out. So I hope that that is helpful to you, and it's just my little token of appreciation for supporting my channel, which I am so grateful for. Now last month I really liked the printable. Here it is, super cute Peter Rabbit. If you haven't seen this episode, I'll link it below. The one that I've got planned for this Patriotic one, I'm really quite excited about. Now, I normally print these out at Staples, and they print them out on like a normal paper, a heavier weight paper, but a normal type of paper. And so it comes out really matted, which I actually really like, but their machine was down this time. So I decided to go ahead and give Walmart a try. And I do like it too, but it is a little bit different. It does come out on like a photo type paper with a little bit of a sheen on it. And there it is. And it's the Declaration of Independence with a beautiful translucent American flag over the top of it. I just love how this turned out, and I hope that you like it too. And all we need to do for this DIY is literally just put it in the frame and call it a day. It's super easy, and you get a beautiful impact piece for your home without doing much. Now, the cheapest way I've seen to be able to do it for this big 16 by 20 size is at Costco for $6.99. They will do it. Unfortunately for me, the closest one that has the photo print service available right now is over an hour away. So I looked into shipping it and it was going to be 2 weeks, but you can do it at a Costco if you have one convenient for you for $6.99. So that's a great deal. At Walmart, They just raised their prices from $9.86 to $12 something, I don't know. But it's still very affordable for such a huge impact piece. And then we again use our frame over and over and over again. And then if that doesn't work for you, I do have the 8x10 size and the 11x14 as an option this time. So it should work for anybody's budget and what they have available as a frame. But I just know that this is gonna make such a meaningful piece. I love it. I'm so happy with how it turned out, and I hope you enjoy it too. So next up, Burlap Fabric sent me some red burlap, and I wanted to try my hand at these burlap wreaths. And so what I did is I just cut it to 6 inches. Do you recognize this? This is the leftover fabric of the table runner fabric that I've squeezed every little last ounce of fabric out of. So this is just leftover fabric from my table runner, and I kind of just made it into this long sash. I'm going to be tying a bow around it. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it, but I have that available to us. Then I have this wire frame that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. So this was $1, and so that's really, really affordable. So this shouldn't cost us very much money at all, even if you had to buy burlap. Now, I'm gonna confess, I've never made a burlap wreath before. So we're gonna do this together. I have mine about 6 inches wide, and I'm gonna start out by folding it half, and then you fold it in half again. And then I have a little piece of wire, and they say you thread it right through the middle, kind of towards the end here. And then what we're gonna do is on the inside of the ring, you're gonna wire it. We just twist it, and just so it's nice and snug. So we've got that attached. So the idea is then you pull it through. You always start on the inside ring. To make sure it's even all the way across, use about the width of your hand. So then we do that, and then we thread it through like so. And then again, you want to make sure that these are all even and all about a palm's width. Squish it down, and you should be able to fit 3 rows in here. So, but before you move on to the next row, twist it 2 or 3 times. You start on the inside. And you just keep going all the way around. Then we do our last one, and it should be a little snugger because I think we're supposed to be able to fit 3 in each. So that's looking pretty cute so far. So we'll just keep going all the way around. It's actually kind of fun. If I'd have known it was so fun, I probably would have done it way sooner. Once you push it down, because you've got that row done, just remember you twist it probably 3 times to get it secure, and then you start again on that inside. You don't have to like be completely flawless, but you do want to make sure it's nice and tight. I'm not quite sure how that whole twisting thing keeps it into place, but it seems to work. So we're done, and I honestly don't know how in the world this worked out this way, but it ended up being exactly enough. So all I need to do now is do the same thing we started with, is take a piece of wire, thread it through and pinch it all together, fold it, in those quarters, wire it, grab it really good and twist it really nice and tight. There we go. How cute is that? It was pretty easy, honestly. I have a lot of loose threads from the burlap, but I think that kind of just adds to the effect of it a little bit, but I'm gonna clean it up a little bit. And then we're gonna take our ribbon here. We're gonna just thread that through. I am just gonna tie just a bow and see how that looks. Okay, how adorable is that? So we could either do it that, I kind of like it a little bit off kilter. This is really lightweight. This was easy. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you like this? This is definitely one that you could use again and again. I love that because then I don't have to buy something again next year, so that's good. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If so, here's another one that I think you'll like as well. And until next time, to all of my DIY Niners, bye.